There are many great reasons to have a vegetable garden and grow some of your own food, and in this video I'm going to give you my top 10 reasons. I'm going to start with reason number 10 and then we'll work our way up to reason number 1. Now let's get right to the list. Coming in at number 10 is pandemic, or any natural disaster that interrupts the food supply. Before 2020 this never would have made my list. But going through a real pandemic makes you think. What if your last trip to the grocery store was actually your last trip to the grocery store? Many of the things that you see in the produce section at your grocery store can be grown right in your own garden. Except for a few items, depending on where you live, that might be inappropriate for your climate. As well as all of the things that you can eat raw or cook straight from your garden. Many items can be frozen as long as you still have access to a freezer. If freezing isn't an option, some vegetables can last for months if cured and stored under the right conditions. Something as simple as a root cellar can allow you to store root crops for months instead of weeks. If you can some of your homegrown vegetables, you can then store it for up to a year. By canning and having a root cellar, you can have some real food security. Number 9 on the list is freshness. Most of what you see here was harvested literally minutes before I got ready to prepare a salad. The garlic was harvested about a month earlier. It really doesn't get any fresher than from your backyard garden to your table, unless you're going to eat it right out in the garden. This is a store-bought tomato that I bought in the grocery store in the month of December. It's a nice looking tomato with not a blemish on it, but that's about all it has going for it because it doesn't have all that much nutritional value or taste compared to a homegrown tomato. Some store-bought tomatoes are picked green and can take weeks to go from the field to your grocery cart. Many produce items can lose a third or more of their nutrients in just a few days after harvest. Number 8 is nature. I shot this video out in our garden. I enjoy watching nature as I garden, and hummingbirds are just one of the beautiful things that I see. Pollinators are an important part of any garden, but they can be enjoyable to watch too. One minute you might find a chorus frog like this one, and the next it could be a praying mantis. Your first thought might be to step on this wolf spider with lots of babies on her back, but I consider her to be a friend in my garden. Number 7 on the list is sharing. Whenever you're blessed with a harvest that's more than you need, it creates a great opportunity to share with family, friends, and neighbors. And if you haven't done so already, I would encourage you to find a food bank or other charity that accepts fresh produce so you can share when you have more than you need. Number 6, having a vegetable garden is educational. I've been growing things for decades and I seem to learn something new every year. And being on YouTube allows me to learn things from other gardeners, like how to grow in straw bales and grow bags. I've found that learning new things and trying new things makes gardening a lot more fun for me. And it's a great way for your children and grandchildren to learn where food really comes from. Number 5, it's a great way to bond as a family and make some great memories. If you've watched my channel very long, you know that I like to grow zinnias. And one of the reasons why is my mom grew them, and I have lots of great memories of her in her flower garden. My dad used to love to grow tomatoes, and here's a look at him with some of his plants. Along with memories of my parents and their gardening activities, I also have some pretty great memories with my grandchildren in the garden. Just for the fun of it, let us know some of your favorite reasons for having a vegetable garden, especially if they aren't on my list. Coming in at number 4, mental health. I like to say that having a veggie garden is good for your body, mind, and soul. There's lots of evidence that shows that gardening is good for reducing stress, and anything that reduces stress is usually good for your mental health. Coming in at number 3 on the list is variety. In some stores you might only see bell peppers and jalapeno peppers and not much more. By growing your own vegetable garden, you'll quickly realize that there are lots of options when it comes to peppers, whether you like hot ones or sweet ones. This one is called Jimmy Nardello, and it's one of our favorites from last year. By trying out different types of vegetables, you can find out what works well with your climate and what works well with your palate. I did a video on some hot peppers that had amazing flavor, so if you want to check that out, I'll put a link down below. I think this video should give you a pretty good idea of just how much variety there are in peppers, but there is also a lot of variety in tomatoes. And tomatoes are one of my favorite things to grow. Here are 6 different heirloom tomatoes. I used to buy the plants that I grew, but once I started growing from seeds, I found out that heirloom tomatoes had more variety than I could ever imagine. Once you start growing your own vegetables, it'll open up a whole new world of options. A lot of people don't know that there are carrots that aren't orange. By growing multiple types, you'll actually find out that you do have a favorite carrot. Number 2 on the list is flavor. When it comes to flavor, there's no more stark contrast between grocery store vegetables and homegrown vegetables than in tomatoes. There are just so many great tasting tomatoes. I even did a video on my top 5 best tasting tomatoes, so if you want to check that out, I'll put a link down below. It's not just the tomatoes that have improved taste. Just about anything out of my garden tastes better than what they have in the grocery store, in my opinion. For those who are used to dealing with bitter eggplant, the Matoyo here closest to the camera is mild enough that I can slice it right out of the garden and eat it raw, and it tastes very mild. Coming in at number 1 on our list of 10 great reasons to grow a vegetable garden is your health. We already had mental health on the list, and your overall health or your physical health is linked to your mental health. As a matter of fact, you could probably make a strong argument that everything on this list improves your physical health. While I was making this video, I thought of 3 or 4 more reasons that I could have added to the list, so don't forget to add yours down in the comments. One thing that I could have added was exercise. Exercise is a great way to improve your physical health. Many of you know that I use wood chips as mulch on my garden, and I had to load all of those wood chips into my truck with a shovel, and then I had to unload them with a shovel and spread them out on my garden. And that was a lot of great exercise, so I'm sure it didn't hurt my physical health. As we mentioned in number 9, which was freshness, fresh vegetables have more nutritional value, and more nutritional value in your diet leads to better health. Even something like flavor can lead to better health, because if it tastes good, you're going to eat more of it, and if you're going to eat more of it, it's going to be better for your health. I could go on, but I think you get the idea. That's my top 10 great reasons for growing a vegetable garden. Be sure to add some of yours below. And if you're just now finding this channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and you can see what we're going to grow this year. We'll see you next time.